Poster number 1, September 11th, 2001, the day that changed the world. It shows a photo of the New York City skyline looking across the river and the bridge and the Twin Towers. It describes it as Lower Manhattan around 8:30 a.m. on September 11th, 2001, photographed by David Monderer. This poster exhibition was developed by the 9/11 Memorial and Museum and has been made possible in part by the National Endowment for the Humanities. Democracy demands wisdom. Any views, findings, conclusions, or recommendations expressed in this exhibition do not necessarily represent those of the National Endowment for the Humanities. There are 3 logos at the bottom for the 9/11 Memorial Museum, the National Endowment for the Humanities, and a QR code to learn more about the 9/11 attack, ongoing repercussions, and online digital resources. All text on a blue background. It says, on September 11th, 2001, 19 terrorists associated with Al-Qaeda, an Islamist extremist group, hijacked 4 California-bound commercial airplanes. In a coordinated attack that turned the planes into weapons, the terrorists intentionally flew 2 of the planes into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center, a global business complex in New York City. They also flew a 3rd plane into the Pentagon, the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Defense in Arlington, Virginia. Passengers and crew members on the 4th plane launched a counterattack, forcing the hijacker pilot who was flying the plane towards Washington, D.C., to crash the plane into a field in Somerset County, Pennsylvania, near the town of Shanksville. The 9/11 attacks killed 2,977 people. This was the single largest loss of life resulting from a foreign attack on American soil. The attacks caused the deaths of 441 first responders, the greatest loss of emergency responders on a single day in American history. The events of September 11th, 2001 irrevocably changed the lives of victims' families and friends, survivors, first responders, rescue and recovery workers, volunteers, and millions of Americans and people around the world. 20 years later, the ongoing consequences of the attacks continue to affect policy debates, civic discourse, and countless individual lives. This exhibition shares some of those stories. Names in bold signify individuals killed as a result of the terrorist attacks of September 11th, 2001 and February 26th, 1993. Poster number 3, the attack on the Twin Towers. There's a photo at the top showing the towers with smoke billowing out. The caption reads, "Hijacked Flight 175 approaching the World Trade Center," photographed by Kelly Gunther. There's a photo on the left of people on the street watching it as it happened. The caption reads, "Eyewitnesses," photographed by Don Hallisey, courtesy of the Library of Congress. Below right is another photo of a radio. The caption says, "Two-way radio used by Ada Dolch on 9/11, collection of the 9/11 Memorial Museum, gift of Ada Dolch." And that name is in bold. The text on attack of the Twin Towers section reads, at 8:46 a.m., 5 hijackers intentionally crashed American Airlines Flight 11 into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. The 76 passengers and 11 crew members on board were killed. Hundreds more died instantly inside the building. The crash cut off all 3 emergency stairwells and trapped hundreds of people above the 91st floor. At 9:03 a.m., a second plane crashed into the World Trade Center. 5 hijackers flew United Airlines Flight 175 into the South Tower, killing the 51 passengers and 9 crew members on board. An unknown number of people inside the building were also killed. The impact made 2 of the building's 3 emergency stairwells impassable and cut elevator cables in the area. Many people were trapped above the impact zone and inside elevators. There's a personal story at the bottom about Ada Dolch, and it reads, "Principal Ada Dolch was at her school just south of the Twin Towers when she heard an enormous boom. She used her radio to communicate with staff on the school's upper floors, where students could see flames coming out of the towers. Knowing her sister Wendy Alice Rosario Wakeford, name in bold, worked in the North Tower, Dolch prayed, "God, please take care of Wendy. I have to take care of the kids in my school." Dolch led the school's evacuation and guided more than 600 students and staff to safety. Her sister was killed in the attacks. Ada Dolch's school is noted as the High School for Leadership and Public Service. Poster number 4 is emergency response. There's a photo at the top of a number of first responders in black and yellow striped gear. They're standing in front of a scene of buildings covered in smoke. The caption reads, "FDNY firefighters arrive at the Twin Towers." Photographed by Bolivar Arellano, New York Post. There's another photo to the right of first responders helping people around an ambulance with the doors open at the back of the ambulance. It reads, "Paramedics and emergency medical personnel technicians treat injured survivors." Photographed by Mariella Lombard. Underneath the ambulance photo is a photo of a chair with a canvas sling, and it says, "Portable evacuation chair used by John Abruzzo. Collection, 9/11 Memorial Museum, anonymous gift." Object photographed by Matt Flynn. The emergency response text reads, "The attacks on the World Trade Center triggered the largest rescue operation in the history of New York City. Approximately 2,000 police officers and nearly 1,000 firefighters responded to the attacks. More than 100 ambulances were sent to the site within the first hour. Responders from the New York City Fire Department, FDNY, the New York City Police Department, NYPD, Port Authority Police Department, PAPD, and other state and federal agencies deployed to the World Trade Center. Many first responders entered the Twin Towers prepared to rescue trapped civilians. Others helped survivors exit safely, guiding the injured to medical assistance and kept bystanders out of harm's way. Co-workers and strangers assisted one another during their evacuations, offering comfort and support." At the bottom is a note on John Abruzzo's story. John Abruzzo was working on the 69th floor of the North Tower when hijacked Flight 11 hit the building. A quadriplegic who relied on a wheelchair for mobility, Abruzzo couldn't descend the emergency stairwell to evacuate on his own. 10 coworkers transferred Abruzzo to a portable evacuation chair and took turns carrying him down the stairs. Firefighters encouraged the group to leave Abruzzo with them, but they chose to stay together. They proceeded to the lobby with Abruzzo and exited the tower through a broken window. Poster number 5. At the top, it shows an aerial view of the Pentagon with smoke coming out of the center. The caption reads, "The Pentagon, Arlington, Virginia." Photo courtesy of the U.S. Department of Justice. The other photo is a patch embroidered in gold with the German Shepherd in the middle. It reads, "Defense Protective Service Police, Canine Explosives Detection Unit, Defense Protective Service." And the caption says, "Defense Protective Service Police patch worn by Isaac Hopefully, courtesy of the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History." The main text reads, "Attack on the Pentagon." At 9:37 a.m., 5 hijackers crashed American Airlines Flight 77 into the western side of the Pentagon. Located in Arlington, Virginia, outside the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., the Pentagon is the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Defense and a symbol of the country's military strength. The crash killed the plane's 6 crew members and 53 passengers, including 5 children and 125 people on the ground. Fire inside the building, fed by jet fuel in the wings of the plane, reached temperatures of up to 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Leading the firefighting efforts, the Arlington County Fire Department contained the flames in the first 12 hours, although it would take days to completely extinguish the fire. The sub-story at the bottom is Isaac Hope's story. He is a Pentagon police officer who was driving his canine partner, Vito, an explosives detection dog, to a veterinarian when hijacked Flight 77 struck the Pentagon. He immediately drove to the building, leaving Vito in the car, and ran into the burning building. Wanting to let survivors out in the smoke-filled corridors know that help was nearby, he called out, "If you can hear me, head towards my voice." He is credited with carrying at least 8 people out of the Pentagon, as well as leading others to safety. Poster 6, aboard Flight 93. At the top is a country scene of a farm. There's a white barn in the distance there with a large cloud of smoke over it. In the foreground is a red barn, a smaller red barn next to it, and to the right, a white farmhouse. And the caption reads, "Somerset County, Pennsylvania, moments after the crash of hijacked Flight 93. Photographed by Valencia McClatchy." The main story, aboard Flight 93. The 4 hijackers on board United Airlines Flight 93 attacked at 9:28 a.m., breaking into the cockpit. At least 10 passengers and 2 crew members made phone calls from Flight 93, learning that the 2 hijacked aircraft had already struck the World Trade Center and providing information about the hijacking to loved ones and authorities on the ground. In a call connected to an airphone supervisor, passenger Todd M. Beamer, named in bold, explained that the plane was flying erratically and the passengers and crew were planning to launch a counter-assault. The supervisor, Lisa Jefferson, recounted the last words she heard as, "Are you ready? Okay, let's roll." Passengers and crew began a 6-minute assault on the cockpit shortly before 10 a.m. Realizing they were seconds away from being overtaken, the hijackers deliberately crashed the plane in Somerset County, Pennsylvania, approximately 20 minutes flying time from Washington, D.C. The 7 crew members and 33 passengers on board all perished. Investigators concluded that the hijackers' intended target may have been the U.S. Capitol building, where Congress was in session. At the bottom is a picture of a gold watch. Its face is visible, the numbers and hands are legible. The band is broken, but included with the watch. And the caption reads, "Watch belonging to Todd M. Beamer, courtesy of the Beamer family." The Swiss watch, worn by Flight 93 passenger Todd M. Beamer on September 11, 2001, was recovered from the plane's crash site. The watch's date keeper still reads alive. Poster number 7. The main topic is collapses at the World Trade Center. At the top is a picture of Manhattan. You can see the tops of buildings, but it's mostly large clouds of smoke in shades of white and gray. And the caption reads, "Lower Manhattan after the collapse of the North Tower, used with permission of the City of New York and the New York City Police Department, courtesy of Greg Somendinger." Collapses at the World Trade Center. At 9:59 a.m., after burning for 56 minutes, the South Tower collapsed in 10 seconds. Clouds of smoke and debris rolled through the surrounding streets, sending thousands running for their lives. At 10:28 a.m., 102 minutes after the first plane crashed into the World Trade Center, the North Tower also collapsed. More than 2,400 civilians and first responders inside the buildings and in the surrounding area were killed. The victims included 441 first responders, 343 from the FDNY, 37 from the PAPD, 23 from the NYPD, and 38 from other agencies. At 5:20 p.m., 7 World Trade Center, a 47-story office building just north of the Twin Towers, collapsed after burning for hours. Subhead Search and Rescue. Search and rescue teams, along with volunteers, immediately converged on the World Trade Center site. The collapse of two 110-story buildings created piles of rubble multiple stories high and extending 7 stories below ground. Sharp burning hot steel wreckage, unstable surfaces, and toxic dust posed dangers for all who had rushed there in hopes of rescuing survivors. Only 18 people were found alive at the site. The last successful rescue occurred midday on September 12th. The related substory is a poster of a missing person. It shows a white piece of paper with the word missing written by hand at the top. Underneath is the name Tanya McDay. There's a photo of a young Black woman wearing a white shirt and a blue sweater. And the description underneath her says, Tanya McDay was employed at Marsh Technologies in Tower 1. She's African American, 25 years old. She's approximately 5'4", 130 pounds with long dark brown hair, dark brown eyes, wearing a ruby ring on her left hand and a college ring on her right ring finger from Jersey City State College. If you have any information, please call the McDay family. Thank you. And her missing poster is an example of other posters that people put up, and it says by the afternoon of September 11th, 2001, and for days after, the faces and names of the missing began to appear on flyers created by relatives and friends hoping their loved ones were still alive. The family of Tanya McDay, name in bold, a computer help desk analyst at Marsh & McLennan Companies on the 97th floor of the North Tower, traveled into Manhattan from New Jersey, wearing homemade missing person posters like this one taped to their clothing. Poster number 8, the towers as targets. At the left are a picture of U.S. warships. At sea, you can see a flag on the second ship for the United States. Underneath it, you can see a picture of a soldier standing next to a stone wall holding an American flag. And it says, Sites of Al-Qaeda attacks before 9/11, the USS Cole, photographed by Sergeant Donnell Mace, U.S. Marine Corps, Nairobi, Kenya. The picture of the ships at sea, the caption reads, Sites of 9/11 of Al-Qaeda attacks before 9/11, the USS Cole, photographed by Sergeant Donnell Mace, U.S. Marine Corps. And then the photo of the soldier by the brick wall is Nairobi, Kenya, photographed by Dave Culkin, AP photo. And the background to those reads, on August 7th, 1998, Al-Qaeda launched a suicide attack detonating truck bombs outside U.S. embassies in Nairobi, Kenya, and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The attacks killed 213 people in Kenya and 11 in Tanzania and injured more than 4,500. On October 12, 2000, Al-Qaeda suicide bombers filled a fishing boat with explosives and detonated it next to the American naval destroyer USS Cole as the ship refueled in Aden, Yemen. 17 American sailors were killed and more than 40 were injured. The main text portion of this poster describes the towers as targets, and at the above right is a woman being helped from the scene by 2 police officers. The officer on the left is a woman, the officer on the right is a male. They all looked concerned, and the woman in the center looks very weak. And her caption reads, NYPD officers assist an evacuee on February 26, 1993. Photographed by Joe Tobacco. Before their destruction in 2001, the Twin Towers dominated the Manhattan skyline for 3 decades. They took on iconic status in the public imagination, becoming symbolic of New York City and the United States as a whole. Their fame and symbolism, however, also made the towers the targets of two attacks. On February 26, 1993, terrorists blew up a van loaded with explosives in the parking garage beneath the World Trade Center, killing 6 people. Although this attack was carried out by a different group of extremists than the 9/11 attacks, the 1993 bombing took place within the broader context of an emerging radical Islamist ideology and foreshadowed the 2001 attacks. The terrorist organization Al-Qaeda was responsible for the 9/11 attacks. The group is an extreme outgrowth of a political movement known as Islamism. Islamists seek control of a Muslim-majority countries that they believe are not governing according to their strict interpretation of Islamic law. Founded by Osama bin Laden, Al-Qaeda hoped to launch a global violent struggle to break the influence of the West, especially the United States, in Muslim-majority countries. Al-Qaeda represents only a tiny fraction of the world's Muslim community. Poster number 9, recovery efforts. At the top of the poster, there's a picture of Ground Zero with just piles of rubble. You can see some girders, there's remnants of walls. There's a night sky behind it and clouds of smoke. And to the right, you can see one building still standing with the lights on. And the caption reads, Ground Zero on September 25th, 2001. Photographed by Joel Meyeritz, courtesy Howard Greenberg Gallery. The main text of the page is recovery efforts, and it reads, within hours of the 9/11 attacks, journalists began referring to the scene of destruction at the World Trade Center site as Ground Zero, a term for the epicenter of an explosion. Within days, thousands of rescue personnel, investigators, engineers, laborers, and volunteers had arrived to join the rescue and recovery efforts. Recovery workers cleared out between 1 and 2 million tons of debris over the course of 9 months. Most of the World Trade Center wreckage was transported to the Fresh Kills landfill, meaning freshwater in Dutch, on Staten Island. 24 federal, state, and city agencies participated in the recovery of human remains and evidence. 20 years later, the families of around 40% of 9/11 victims from the World Trade Center have never received identifiable remains of their loved ones. To the right of the main text is a picture of a woman with her foot on a stone. She's wearing a hard hat, jeans, and a work jacket. Behind her is a large backhoe with a scoop and tractions. And the caption reads, Pia Hoffman at Ground Zero, photographed by Michael Goodman. Pia Hoffman, a member of Local 14 of the International Union of Operating Engineers, began working at Ground Zero the week after 9/11. When Hoffman first recovered the remains of civilians, she insisted they receive the same honors as the remains of uniformed responders such as firefighters or police officers. From that day on, when civilian remains were found, a member of the clergy was summoned, an honor guard was formed, and the remains were draped with an American flag while carried from the site. Poster number 10, Mourning in Solidarity. At the top of the poster is an area of Union Square Park. There's many, many candles. It's a nighttime scene. You can see the flames flickering. There's American flags in the center, and there's street lights behind. It's a nighttime photo, so the edges are dark. And the caption reads, Vigil in Union Square Park, New York City, photographed by Brandon Ramier. The caption reads, Vigils and expressions of solidarity around the world. The first photo is a group of people in native dress, mostly reds. There's a hill behind them with blue sky, and there's many American flags visible, and they're holding homemade signs in support. And it reads, NOC in Kenya collection, 9/11 Memorial Museum, gift of Wilson, Kamele, Nayoma, and Josh Hayner, photographed by Josh Hayner. The middle photograph are 4 women shrouded in 3 white and 1 tan hijab. Most of them have just their eyes visible. They're signing a remembrance book with an American flag, and the caption reads, U.S. Embassy, Amman, Jordan, photographed by Ali Jurekci, writers. And then the bottom photo is a group of people all facing the camera. It's a candid photo, and in the foreground is a man with dark hair and a mustache holding 2 photos of the Twin Towers, and the caption reads, Panama City, Panama, photographed by Alberto Lowe, Reuters. The main text on this poster is Mourning in Solidarity. The urge to mourn alongside others brought people together throughout New York City, across the country, and around the world. People gathered on college campuses, in parks and town halls, and in places of worship. Spontaneous memorials appeared in town squares, on roadside billboards, and outside firehouses and police stations. Flags were flown at half-staff in recognition of the country's loss, and candlelight vigils were held in remembrance of the victims and solidarity against terrorism. The death toll on 9/11 included individuals from more than 90 nations and stirred sympathy around the globe. Making meaning. People of different ages, backgrounds, and abilities found meaning in public service after the 9/11 attacks. Volunteers flocked to Lower Manhattan from around the country to provide assistance. Some signed on with organizations such as the American Red Cross and the Salvation Army, while others volunteered independently. Across the country, many people channeled their emotions by enlisting in the military, founding charities, contributing to philanthropic causes, or helping people in need in other ways. Poster 11 is 20 years later. At the top is a picture in the Middle East of a soldier standing on top of a Humvee. Everything is olive drab. He has a vest on and a hat, and in front of the Humvee is another soldier with a vest and hat on as well. And to the left of the Humvee is a stack of sandbags, holding up a sign that says, Welcome to Camp 93, Let's Roll Seabees, and it has a U.S. flag on it. And the caption reads, U.S. Navy camp set up for Operation Iraqi Freedom, named in tribute to Flight 93, April 11th, 2003, photographed by Stan Travioli, U.S. Navy. At the bottom is a picture of a concrete wall with 6 people walking in front of it. There's a man in front, followed by 4 women and a child. And behind it, you can see the top of a concrete block structure and a very flat roof. And then to its left, some trees. And then in the distance are some mountains. And it says Osama bin Laden's compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan on May 3rd, 2011. Collection 9/11 Memorial Museum, gift of Warwick page for the New York Times. So the main text of the poster, 20 years later, Global War on Terror. On September 20th, 2001, U.S. President George W. Bush announced that the United States had declared war on a radical network of terrorists and every government that supports them. The U.S. government initiated a global war on terror, sending troops to Afghanistan in October 2001 and later to Iraq. The 9/11 attacks prompted calls for new strategies to keep the nation safe. The USA Patriot Act, passed in October 2001, expanded the government's intelligence gathering tools and its ability to detain and deport individuals suspected of terrorism. Many people continue to debate whether the methods used after 9/11 effectively protect national security without compromising civil liberties. Nearly 10 years after 9/11, U.S. President Barack Obama authorized a special operations raid in Abbottabad, Pakistan, where Osama bin Laden was believed to be hiding. On May 1st, 2011, U.S. Navy SEALs and Army aviators carried out the operation and killed bin Laden. Al-Qaeda and related groups remain a threat today. On October 14th, 2021, U.S. President Joseph Biden announced that he would withdraw all U.S. troops from Afghanistan by September 11th, 2021, ending America's longest war. Poster number 12 is 20 years later, health effects. There's a large quote at the top that says, "So you need to understand 9/11 didn't end at midnight or a year later. 9/11 still goes on." It's attributed to Sonia Agron, American Red Cross volunteer who worked near Ground Zero after 9/11. The main text reads, 20 years later, health effects. More than 400,000 survivors, first responders, rescue and recovery workers, cleaning crews, Lower Manhattan residents, and others are estimated to have been exposed to toxic dust in New York City on 9/11 or during recovery operations. Tens of thousands nationwide are now suffering from chronic illnesses, including respiratory diseases, mental health issues, and more than 100 types of cancer. Thousands of those exposed have died. People with 9/11 related illnesses are particularly susceptible to COVID-19. In 2011, President Obama signed the James Zadroga 9/11 Health and Compensation Act into law, providing financial compensation to individuals who suffered physical injury or death as a result of the 9/11 attacks. The bill also established a health program to monitor and treat those with 9/11 related illnesses. Congress reauthorized the Zadroga Act in 2015, extending the compensation fund for 5 additional years and the health program through 2090. In 2019, the Never Forget the Heroes Act extended the compensation fund through 2092. More than 100,000 people living in all 50 states have enrolled in the World Trade Center Health Program. At the left is a photo of a courtroom, and there's a man standing to the left, clapping. His hat's on the table, and he's dressed in a double-breasted blue blazer with a shirt and tie. Behind him is a man in a denim shirt, also standing and clapping, and a man next to him in a blue collared shirt and a blue cap standing and clapping. And behind them, there's people in the crowd. And in the foreground, there's a very gaunt, older-looking man with a blue shirt on and the name tag Mr. Louis Alvarez in front of him. And the caption reads, "Former NYPD Detective Louis Alvarez testifies before Congress in support of the Never Forget the Heroes Act, June 11th, 2019. Photographed by Zach Gibson, Getty Images." NYPD Detective Louis Alvarez spent 3 months at Ground Zero aiding in the rescue and recovery efforts after 9/11. In 2016, he was diagnosed with cancer related to his exposure to toxins at the World Trade Center site. In June 2019, Alvarez appeared before Congress to urge lawmakers to pass the Never Forget the Heroes Act. Alvarez had already undergone 68 rounds of chemotherapy and was scheduled to have another the next day. He died on June 29, 2019. The Never Forget the Heroes Act was signed into law 1 month later. Poster number 13 is 20 years later, service and selflessness. At the top of the poster, there's a long line of people in t-shirts and shorts pushing up a wall. And to the right of them are some young women looking at a magazine together with, in a large room behind them, there's other people at other tables. But in the foreground, there's just 2 of them looking at a magazine. And the photo caption for the row of people putting up the wall reads, Volunteers rebuild a church after a tornado, September 8th, 2006. Photograph courtesy of Sandra Hauser, New York Says Thank You Foundation. The photograph of the young women looking at the magazine. Caption reads, Mentoring in Memory of 9/11, New York City, September 11th, 2009. Photograph courtesy of the Corporation for National and Community Service. And then there's a photo below it of Ground Zero restored with the gardens and the memorial, and the caption reads, National September 11th Memorial Museum, New York City, photographed by Jen S. Lee. 20 years later, service and selflessness. Like the medical professionals and others who responded to the COVID-19 pandemic, first responders, recovery workers, and volunteers demonstrated selflessness and compassion both on and after September 11th, 2001. Their actions created a connection between public service and 9/11 remembrance that endures today. For many, 9/11 served as a call to change the world for the better, an idea formalized in 2009 when the U.S. Congress made September 11th an annual National Day of Service and Remembrance. Subhead, Remembrance and Rebuilding. The U.S. Department of Defense opened the National 9/11 Pentagon Memorial on September 11th, 2008, 7 years after the attacks. The Flight 93 National Memorial, authorized by the U.S. Congress in September 2002, opened for the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. In New York City, the National September 11th Memorial Museum opened in phases. The 9/11 Memorial was dedicated on the 10th anniversary. The 9/11 Memorial Museum opened in 2014. In 2019, an area of the memorial was redesigned to honor rescue and recovery workers and the victims of 9/11 related illnesses. Poster number 14 is just text on a blue background, and it reads, How will you remember 9/11? 2 decades have passed since the 9/11 attacks, and terrorism remains a global threat. We may never be able to prevent all of the actions of people intent on harming others, but we do have control over how we respond to such events. Whether by volunteering in our local communities, serving our nation in the military, caring for the sick and injured, or through other efforts, all of us can help build the world in which we want to live. As we witness history unfolding in our own time, the ways we choose to respond, both large and small, can demonstrate the best of human nature even after the worst of days. There's a caption at the bottom for the Blue Sky Remembrance Wall, and it reads, This year on September 11th, visit the Blue Sky Remembrance Wall at neverforget.org/remember to join others from across the country and around the world in remembering those killed as a result of the attacks on September 11th, 2001. There's also a QR code for digital resources, and we'll research that link and include it in this transcript. Learn more about the 9/11 attacks and their ongoing repercussions through video interviews, additional stories, and lesson plans, as well as other resources. And then we have added a poster here with other resources in our collection. There are audiobooks and regular books and movies in our collection. So these are just some examples. There is a book titled September 11th, The 9/11 Story, Aftermath and Legacy, call number 973.931, September. Fall and Rise, The Story of 9/11, call number 973.9, ZUCKOFF. Next book, Find the Helpers, What 9/11 and Parkland Taught Me About Recovery, Purpose, and Hope, 921 GUTTENBERG. Next book, The Stories They Tell, Artifacts from the National September 11th Memorial Museum. This book is in our oversized shelf, call number 973.931, Stories. Next book, Some Kids Left Behind, A Survivor's Fight for Healthcare in the Wake of 9/11. Call number 973.931 NORDSTROM. We have a DVD, Out of the Clear Blue Sky. Call number DVD DOCOUT. Next book, Flight 93, The Story, the Aftermath, and the Legacy of American Courage on 9/11. Call number 973 MCMILLAN. Next book, On That Day, The Definitive Timeline of 9/11. Call number 973.931 ARKIN. Next book, The Only Plane Left in the Sky, An Oral History of 9/11. Call number 973.931 GRAFF. Next book, Ordinary Heroes, A Memoir of 9/11. Call number 921 PFEIFER. Next book, Atlas of the Middle East. Call number 912.56 NAT. Next book, The Muslim Problem, Why We're Wrong About Islam and Why It Matters. Call number 297 KHA. Next book, A History of Islam and 21 Women. Call number 297.082 KAM. Next book, Islamic Empires, The Cities That Shaped Civilization, From Mecca to Dubai. Call number 909 MAR. Next book, The Islam Book. Call number 297 ISL. Next book, Reopening Muslim Minds. Call number 297.09 AKY. Next book, Islam and History, Ideas, People, and Events in the Middle East. Call number 909 LEW. We've included a couple books on trauma and healing, if that's what you feel you need right now. One book is noted. The first book is The Body Keeps the Score, Brain, Mind, and Body in the Healing of Trauma. Call number 616 VAN. The next book is an audio book, Feel Better Fast and Make It Last. Unlock your brain's healing potential to overcome negativity, anxiety, anger, stress, and trauma. And the call number is CD 612.8 AME.